Welcome back to the Stephan Show. My name is Graham and welcome to my show, and today we're going to be doing a video that's way more sentimental than all of my other millionaire reacts videos. Those aren't really sentimental at all. I mean, those are just kind of fun to do. But today actually marks the third year down to this day. It was December 26, 2016 when I uploaded my first ever YouTube video. And then about 2 years ago, almost again to the day, I posted this video, my goals for 2018, parentheses, 1 million in income. And I remember making this video back then, thinking to myself that $1 million a year would be completely unrealistic. And at the time, I was reading up online about how to set New Year's resolutions and what you should be doing. And in the past, I've always hit my New Year's resolutions. I don't think I've ever made a list of things I really want to do and then not hit them. Which really got me to thinking maybe I'm just not making these goals big enough. Maybe they're not crazy enough. Maybe I'm only setting realistic goals that I think, yeah, I could do it. So I set them within the parameters of what's possible, and then that way I'm not going to be disappointed. But this video, when I made it for 2018, the thought of making $1 million in a year, truly to me, would just It seems stupid, to be completely honest. I remember thinking to myself, this is never going to happen, but I may as well just put it out to the universe, and at least if I just write it down and say it, then at least the ball is rolling, at least it's out there, and then I'm not going to be responsible for it anymore. And sure enough, what ended up happening was that in 2018, I did not make $1 million. I don't want to say I was embarrassed about not making $1 million, but a lot of people were asking for a follow-up video on this. They'd be like, Graham, what happened? Did you get your goals? And I was honestly just kind of scared. It was just oh crap, I didn't do that. And how bad would this look for me to be talking about how to set New Year's resolutions? And then I didn't do it. But I don't know what happened. Maybe I just got a year off on this one. But for 2019, believe it or not, is the first year now not only earning over $1 million in a year, but this year is now over $2 million in a year that I made this year. And that's from everything, by the way. That's YouTube, real estate, sales, rental income. I'm talking about the entire Stephan picture in a whole right there. But so maybe that's my rationalization for if we split that up, that's $1 million for 2018, $1 million for 2019. So I thought it would be kind of fun to look back at this and share my thoughts of just what I was thinking at the time and going over some of my goals and whether or not I actually hit them and what happened that year and what's changed for this year. So anyway, let's get into this video. My goals for 2018, wait for it, 1 million in income. So this is why it's so important that especially when you want to achieve something, you set a goal for yourself and something you can measure. By the way, back then, a lot of people would be commenting
oh my god, Graham, you talk so much slower back then than you do now.
And the reason for that was because I would film these videos at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., or midnight. Because back then, I was focusing full time on working as a real estate agent. And then for me, YouTube was really just a part-time thing that I would do at night. So I'd get home, I'd have myself a little dinner, and then after that, I would start planning out my videos and filming and trying to edit. And I would be up until 2 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I actually got around to filming, I was exhausted. So this is me just kind of half asleep, going to bed 2 hours from then and just tired from a long day, but still managed to crank out content. A goal is really going to be something that grounds you and gives you purpose and direction in where you're going to be going. Also, it's so weird for me to look back at this because my white balance on this is horrible. I had no idea what I was doing back here with editing or anything like that. And I remember thinking that if I made myself look too yellow, the background would just look really yellow. So I tried to make myself look a little bit bluer so the background would kind of look normal. I look so pale in this with a tinge of blue. Got my white balance now in check, thankfully. And the thing when I set my goals is that I usually set them at a point where I felt they're realistic and that I felt I can actually hit these goals. My YouTube goal for this year was 1,000 subscribers, and I grossly underestimated that. I remember that one, by the way. That was December 31st, 2016, and my goal for the entire year of 2017 was to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That to me, if I had that, I felt like I would have made it. And I would break it down every day, I have to get 3 new subscribers every single day. And I remember thinking to myself at the beginning of the year, how is that even possible? How is it possible for 3 random strangers in the entire planet to come and find me, and not only that, but want to subscribe and watch my videos? So I actually felt that was a really monumental thing to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I think at the time when I posted this, I must have had 90,000, maybe 85, 90,000 subscribers, which was crazy, was really just like, that was absurd for me. And deep down, I didn't think I could do better than just a certain amount. And also deep down, I didn't want to set a goal that I would look back on at the end of the year and realize, you know what? I messed up. I didn't hit these things. So I didn't want that either. But part of me seeing this now, I'm looking back and I'm realizing like, yeah, some of that was true. Some of it was like, I really didn't believe that I was able to do it. I felt like maybe I wasn't as deserving to do this, or I would have felt some guilt at doing this at like such a young age. And then it was really for me in 2018 where I started to meet a lot of people from the internet who were doing this. And again, I think just seeing it firsthand and being around other people who are doing what you want to do gave me that boost and that confidence to think that, yeah, you know, it's possible and I could do this too. And even though I didn't do it in 2018, that really set the foundation for me to be able to do that in 2019. And not only that, but then double that goal, which again is crazy. This is the first year I'm really going somewhat crazy, I feel like, with my numbers. But let's see. If this works, it's going to be so interesting to look back and I'll be like, wow, guys, that actually worked. Or, you know, if I don't hit it, you know. And here we are 2 years later. What's up, old Graham? This is new Graham here. And yeah, we are looking back at this. Let's see what these are. First thing is that I want to make in 2018 $1 million. Now, I've never had a 7-figure year before in real estate. And this year, I would like to be the first year that I have $1 million in gross income for 2018. So obviously I did not hit that in 2018, but in 2019, I was able to do a little bit over $2 million. So again, that's my excuse. It kind of makes up for it. I'd also like to increase my passive rental income to $10,000 per month by the end of December of 2018. So right now I'm about $4,000 a month away from hitting that goal. So fun fact there, I think I did hit the $10,000 a month in gross rental income. I think I hit that. Oh man, it must have been in December because I bought a property at the end of that year. And then the gross rents of that were $4,600 a month. So I was able to hit that. So next, in terms of my YouTube goals, I would like to see this channel at 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2018. Okay, so I just found out here, I wanted 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2018. What I ended up doing was a little bit over 300,000 subscribers by the end of 2018. I'd also like to see this channel average 2 million views a month, which is basically we just triple what I'm getting right now, and there we go. I think though, on the bright side, I was able to hit 2 million views per month. I think it was in November of 2018, that's when my credit card unboxing video really took off and got a lot of views. So I did hit the 2 million views a month, just not the 500,000 subscribers. Now with 2 million views a month, I'd also like to see over $100,000 in YouTube ad revenue in 2018. So it's really interesting to look back at this and think that, like, for me, 100,000 was my goal for the entire year. And now that is what I would make in 1 month in just ad revenue from the main YouTube channel alone, which is nuts to think about. Like, I could never even fathom back then what I would be doing right now in just 2 years. It's insane just how quickly your life can change. And you have no idea. You have no clue. It just happens. And it's so humbling to look back at this and think this, like, how much has really just changed in 24 months. And then I'd also like to upgrade the Lotus in 2018 with either a Lamborghini Superleggera or maybe a manual Ferrari F430. I completely forgot just how badly I wanted the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. What ended up happening was that when I actually had the money to go and buy the car, I went to test drive just a regular Gallardo. And I was really, really, really disappointed in it. It lacked any of the excitement and the emotion and just like the rawness that I felt with the Lotus. And I was like, why would I ever sell my Exige and then spend double that to go and buy a Gallardo? Now, obviously I wanted the Superleggera version, which is like the Gallardo on steroids. But even then, how could I justify spending like 3 times the cost of a Lotus on a car that just wasn't that exciting, and that really just drained the fun out of it. And then I started thinking about the manual Ferrari F430, which I thought would be just a really fun investment car, especially just having a manual Ferrari. I mean, there's something about that. But I guess just the desire went away. I was really at a point where I had a choice between either spending that money on getting the car, which I was just a bit disappointed on, or going and investing in more real estate. And I figured, you know what, I have my entire life to go and get a car like this if I really want to, and I would get more enjoyment and more fulfillment long term going and buying a property because I knew that the Lamborghini is always going to be there. Maybe a property isn't. So I bought the property. And even now, it's like I've had these small desires to go out and buy like a Mercedes SLS AMG. Like I love that. But then again, like I'm never going to drive the car. And the Tesla Model 3 for me is such a better car than anything else I've ever driven. And just being able to put it in autopilot and just zone out is something for me that is now so important. Like I love the comfort. I would like to set up a reef tank this year. You know, reef aquariums have been a huge hobby of mine, a huge passion of mine since I was a kid. And it's been a while since I had a reef tank set up. And I've said this every year that it'd be like, I'm gonna set up my reef tank finally and have, you know, I've been saying that for a while now. Okay, so admittedly, I did not set up a reef tank in 2018. I still have not done that in 2019. My excuse for doing this now is that I'm gonna be buying another property soon. Something that I think is gonna be a good investment that I can fix up and move into for a little bit. And that is going to have more space for me to have the reef tank I really want. I don't wanna do like an 80-gallon tank. I want something that's gonna be like 150 to maybe 250 gallons. Like something really like, you know, if I'm gonna do it, I wanna go all out with this thing. So as of right now, I'm waiting to buy another property, and when I get that property, then I'm gonna be setting up the reef tank. I'd also like to have my drums set up again. And it's been a few years since I played the drums, and I really haven't had any space to play it because the neighbors hate the drums and it's really loud. So I would like to get that set up again and maybe make like a soundproof room or something like that that I can play the drums in. This is gonna be on my New Year's resolutions to do this in 2020. Whenever the new house comes around, I will make sure that there's enough room for a soundproof drum room and a reef tank. That to me is my biggest requirement in a house. Like it's gotta have space for those two things so I can go and enjoy it, because right now I just don't have enough space in a 1-bedroom like 800 square foot duplex for me to have a 200-gallon aquarium and like a big drum set. It's not practical there. So I need more space at this point, and that's something I'm working towards. I would also like to set up a podcast in 2018. You guys have been asking a lot for a podcast. I'd like to get that set up in January along with a Facebook group. Okay, so the podcast, I was able to kind of make that happen. I took a lot of the Graham Stephan show calls, put them on iTunes and also on Spotify, so that's there. My passion for podcasting really isn't quite there, so I kind of figured, well, you know, if I'm not really that into it, why am I gonna do it? So that's why. Set up a Facebook group. I'm gonna link to it down below. If you guys wanna join the Facebook group, feel free. It's a really good community. It's called the Real Estate Millionaire Mastermind, centered around people who are interested in real estate and real estate investing, and real estate agenting and anything real estate. So anyway, make sure to add yourself to the group, link in description. And then I'd also like to take on some more speaking engagements. I would love to do 10 speaking engagements in 2018. This is something that I've really been working a lot on in terms of my speaking skills. And it's one thing to talk to a camera with nobody around and I can, you know, make it take as many times as I want to, but actually speaking live in front of a group of people is an entirely different story, so I'd like to get better at that, and I'd like to do 10 speaking engagements in 2018. So yes, that is something that I was able to do. I did have over 10 speaking engagements in 2018, and I very quickly realized that I don't have that big of a passion for speaking. I thought I would. I thought I would speak in front of a whole bunch of people, and I would love it and get all fired up. In reality, I mean, it's just, I prefer talking to a camera in my garage, and I could reach way more people than I can going and actually speaking somewhere. Like I remember speaking in some places like 100, 150 people, and thinking to myself, wait a second, I can make one YouTube video in just a spur of the moment, and you know, I don't know, a few thousand people are gonna watch it in the first 5 minutes. Like a few thousand people versus 150. And I think just really out of a practicality standpoint, like I prefer this than I do going and speaking in front of a live group. And that's not to say I'm not ever going to do speaking engagements in the future. I absolutely will. It just isn't worth it when I can have way more of an outreach here. I'd also like to say yes to things more often. It's really easy for me to like naturally just be a homebody and, you know, be pretty introverted and not want to go out very often and kind of stick to myself. So that's one of these things that I continually have to push myself to go out there and meet new people and be social and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't really come naturally to me. So this is one of those things that I feel like in 2018, I really want to say yes to things more. And when people invite me out, I'm just going to say yes instead of being like, oh, I don't know, I'd rather stay home tonight. That is actually a really good one. And I did end up doing that. And even now, I still have to force myself to say yes. There's so many times where I'm just like, oh, I just feel like staying home. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. And I'm just like, oh, come on, I got to do it. I got to do it. Every time I push myself to go and leave, I have a great time. So even now, that is still something I'm working. I don't think that's ever gonna go away. I think every year I just gotta be like, I gotta say yes more often to stuff like that. So this is one of those tests for me just to see what happens if I make some, crazy goals, to look back at this a year from now and see how I actually came in comparison to what I wanted to achieve. And, I'm pretty optimistic. I think I'll be able to hit these. But at the same time, for me right now, they all seem like, $1 million in a year. I've never done that before. So that's definitely something that I would like to do. And that one would blow everything else out of the water. If I could do $1 million in a year, from me making a goal, then what does that say for everybody else? You guys need to make these goals and put them out there. Wow, again, to me, it's so crazy to look back at myself and see just how much has changed. Again, it just goes to show you how much can change so quickly in such a little amount of time. All right, so we just finished the video, and I gotta say, obviously we didn't hit that in 2018. We were able to do that, though, a year later in 2019, and more than double what I had set back then, which I think is incredible. And now it's crazy to look back at this in just 3 years, and me putting myself out on YouTube and making personal finance videos has changed my entire life. And I really owe all of that, by the way, to you guys. To everyone who subscribes to the channel, everyone who smashes the like button, everyone also who signs up for Webull down below in the description, deposits $100 and gets 2 free stocks. Again, for all of you guys that do that, I mean, it's just all of your support that is able to make this happen, and we're all able to do this together. And like I said, I really feel like it's this community group effort, and that's why I say, like, we did it. We hit $2 million a year. I feel like it's not just my accomplishment, and that we're able to do this together, we're able to grow together, we're able to figure things out, and all one day just be super rich. And that's the goal of the channel. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, if you have not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash the like button, add me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free to add me there. And also, like I mentioned, if you guys want 2 free stocks, use the link down below, sign up for Webull, deposit $100, and it will give you 2 free stocks. One of those stocks is going to be valued up to $1,400. So again, if you want a stock valued up to a lot of money, make sure to do that. Thank you again for watching, and until next time.